Happy hour.
Yay!
Indeed. Happy hour and shit.
Welcome in to another edition, a special bonus edition of Hit Points Not Required Happy Hour, where we have a few beverages and we talk D&D TTRPG stuff from a role player's perspective. But before that, let's get some nonsense. I love the nonsense part of this stuff. What's going on, people?
I'm sunburnt. I'm not gonna lie.
Are you sunburnt from sitting out on the beach and relaxing and enjoying yourself?
Are you fucking kidding me? I am not.
That was what in the business is called a leading question.
I mowed the grass yesterday, and
Here we
in
are
In the ongoing saga of Rook's Lawn.
which was not the problem, but I had my table saw out in the driveway and was cutting a fairly substantial amount of wood. And between the two of them, apparently I was out in the sun a little too long and shirtless and regretting life decisions. So there you go.
Well, thank you for the update on on Rook's Lawn.
The lawn is taken care of. That's the important thing.
The important question there is, what's the status of the riding mower? Is it at your place? Is it at the repair place? Has it been taken apart and disassembled and sent to 82 different locations? What's
It is
going on with it?
still sitting under my deck, right where it was the last time I left it there, and I have not contacted anyone. I refuse to spend another dollar on this motherfucking lawn mower.
Instead, we get ourselves sunburnt and
that
use
sucked.
multiple batteries.
To be fair, I only used 2 batteries in total to mow the lawn yesterday, so that was great.
How explain this to me in terms for a non-sciencey person? If it normally takes you like 3.5 to 4 batteries to mow your lawn, what was special about these batteries that they lasted long enough to only make it take 2? Is this like a Hanukkah thing?
The answer to that question is mowing it down and keeping it mowed down, right? So now that it is down and I'm not cutting through tremendous amounts of shit, it takes less battery per pass. Ergo, 2 full batteries got the job done.
Gotcha. So
also, it's July and it's not raining like it was in May.
That's that is fair. Less rain, less batteries. That computes that as a direct relationship there. But that's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm glad your lawn is in a state of proper mowship. Mowness.
Moship is interesting.
Moship. My lawn. We'll write that one down for future use. Moship.
Moship. The moship of your lawn.
Moship. Is that one word or 2?
No.
It's got to be one word.
One word.
It's
Yeah.
One word. Moship.
And not even a hyphen, no apostrophe, nothing in there. There may be a silent H, though. There's always a silent H in weird words.
Where would it be?
After the
M-H-O.
I was going to say it's before or after the O for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Violet, what is going on? Please get us onto some other topic other than the moship of Rook's Lawn.
I have no other interesting topics to discuss, except that it's my mother's birthday today. So
happy birthday, Mama Violet!
Yes, happy birthday to her. So we had a lovely chat this morning. But
aww, That's
Other than
nice.
that,
How are they
nothing
doing?
interesting. She's doing great. She's doing well. There's always shit going on.
Hmm.
There's always something.
Was there a lot of family tea in that discussion? Oh, you wouldn't believe what cousin
There
I
was.
did.
There honestly was.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Every time. I have a large extended family. My mom has 5 sisters, and then they all have kids, and some of their kids have kids, and because my mom's one of the younger of the sisters, and so there's a lot of people. So there's a lot of people to gossip about. There's always something.
Not like my family. Would you believe Jaime's back in jail again? No. But
Jaime?
good.
Who the fuck is Jaime?
It's a good Jewish name. What are you gonna do? But anyway, there was also a holiday since the last time we happied for an hour, and there were. Did anybody have any firework incidents? Was there anything loud, or anybody have to call an ambulance for anything?
No, completely uneventful. Yeah, heard some fireworks in the distance is pretty much the extent of that.
Yeah, no, the fireworks weren't bad. It was a little rainy on the 4th down here in the South in Atlanta, Georgia. It was a little rainy, but there was a race. It's funny. It's interesting because it was a little rainy, so there wasn't much with the fireworks, but it was so goddamn hot that they canceled the last portion of the road race. So famous road race here in Atlanta. One of the it's like a 10K road race, one of the longer, more popular. They've got a decent dollar prize or whatever it is. So they cap it at, I think, 60,000 people that can get in, and they sell them, they auction off, and you have to do all this stuff to get in there. But I think I heard it was so damn hot in the morning, they stopped it after 40,000 people. Like 40,000 people, they still sold the 60,000 entries, but because there was a pre-sold. I don't think they were getting refunded, but no more running. You just go home. Don't bother running. You came out here, take your bib, go home, whatever. And they end up here at Piedmont Park, and they are supposed to have a big celebration. They're like, no, none of this. Just get out of here. Take down all the tents. Get everybody out. Get back on MARTA. Go home, you idiots. It's hot. Too damn hot to be out here running. But then there were no fireworks either because it was too rainy. Both too hot and too rainy. Welcome to Georgia.
Hotter, you would say, than Jacob's sack, perhaps?
Oh, no. Too soon. Too soon. We can't get into the people don't know. They're not gonna.
That is a very, very weird hint at some upcoming content.
Yeah, upcoming content. Jacob's sack.
Oh no.
Oh my!
All you no viewers out there, hell yes.
And then you're going to check in 6 months, and this one, because we talk Druid Wild Shape, will be like 80,000 views, and everybody wondering what the heck is going on with JS. It's well, you know what? For you 80,000 people, you stay tuned. Just stay tuned, and we will give you the lowdown on that.
That thing.
That thing. Yeah. Holiday. I think it was good. I didn't hear anything crazy going on anywhere around the country, less than I normally hear with 4th of July antics and whatnot. So that's good. How's the weather has been a little cooler after that too. So we had that rain, like I said, and a couple days after that. So it's come down a little bit. Is it? How's it been by y'all? Is it still hot and muggy and nasty?
Yeah. Absolutely. Every day.
It is all of those things.
I hate the summer. I think I said this last time. I hate the summer. I really want it to be over.
It's kind of the worst for me anyway. If I could find a place where it was fall all year long,
exactly.
that would be ideal.
That is the ideal for sure.
Would
that
just be
fall is the perfect season.
Would that just be fall temperatures all year long?
No, like everything about fall, like the dryness, the fallness, the crispness of the air. Like if you could
find
just
that place, let me know,
please.
Yes, 100%.
Can I ask if this perfect place that has this wonderful weather with the dryness and the leaf colors and everything, has Halloween decorations up eternally as well.
Sure,
And
why
if
not?
you can always get a pumpkin spice latte.
I'm in favor. I mean, although I feel like, okay, I like pumpkin stuff. Like the pumpkin, I'll drink a pumpkin spice latte. I like all that stuff, but I feel like it's extra special because it's seasonal. If
Mhm.
it was all the time, it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, I
With
don't
that-
give a shit about any of that. I just want
Yeah.
the cool, crisp
Mhm.
air and
Yes.
not the sack.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to see how many, you're going to go for a
Gonna
record.
keep doing
How
it.
many
Yeah.
times you get that word in on
Mhm.
the broadcast? We're going to start talking about Santa soon just so we can have a Santa sack.
It's a different kind of sack. Definitely.
You
Probably
don't
still
know.
sweaty,
Jacob's
though.
sack could be exactly
Yeah.
that. We don't know
Mhm.
what we're talking about.
For sure.
Nobody does really.
For
No.
sure.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
we should clip this and get it over to Jacob, though. But yeah, no, that's good.
He
I'm
should have been
glad
here to rebut the
Yep.
sacking.
he wouldn't have been able to because his mouth would have been full of burger.
Well, maybe.
I mean, if he's going to eat okay, how many of y'all out there have heard about eating a burger in the fewest number of bites possible, sort of like Name That Tune, except how much ground beef can you shove in your mouth at one time? And, our amazing DM, the tail weaver extraordinaire, the person that can describe things like none other, also claims he can shove an entire burger in his mouth in 3 bites. So I don't know.
We've
Is
yet
it
to
a
see
challenge?
it, but
It will happen. If not on Happy Hour, then live in the studio at some point in the future when we all get together,
mhm.
we will film that in a safe area with paramedics on standby.
Oof.
Mhm.
Oh, hey! I believe there's a wild armadillo paying attention to us as we
Yes.
talk about Jacob shoving
Indeed.
burgers in his mouth.
Indeed. Welcome, Carly. Thank you for joining us. And hope everything is going well for you. We're just here
So,
talking about random bullshit.
we are still in the nonsense part of our happy hour. Happy hour always starts with nonsense and shoving burgers in your mouth in 3 bites or less. And the state of your lawn and what is the perfect fall weather
Why is
and
everything
does it
gotta be about
include
my
pumpkin spice
fucking
latte?
lawn? I just like
Nobody even asked you this
can y'all
time.
see? Like, look at this shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I can
am
see it.
burnt. I am burnt, y'all.
But
It's
can we?
truth.
But you better post pictures of your lawn in Discord. What was the sacrifice for, if not for a beautiful lawn?
It wasn't for a beautiful lawn. The lawn doesn't burn me. It was the extra in the sun. That's all I got to say.
Extra in the sun. Well, you know what might have really helped you with that if you had like some resistances, if you had something that could potentially come from a wild shape that you will
No.
soon be able to get into via bonus action. I know there are a
Mhm.
lot of people excited about that. And I believe, Violet, you have some feelings on the matter of our new druid.
I mean, I'm interested in it. I think, yeah, I think it's interesting. I want to see it in action.
I'm interested. It's interesting.
Yes, yes. Be impressed by my extensive vocabulary. But yeah, I mean, like, it's a bonus action for everyone now, and I feel like the reason for that is super obvious, which is like basically everyone wants to play a moon druid all the time because they can bonus action wild shape, and it makes wild shape a million times more powerful and useful than if you have to use a whole action to do it. I do think there's some there's some interesting balancing happening because I don't like to play moon druids because of that, because they're so powerful. And you know, I know some people, everyone has their own way of playing. And if a particular class is really powerful, some people are like, well, of course I'm going to do that one. Like, why would I take something that can do less? That doesn't make sense. But I don't like playing OP characters, and I feel like the moon druids are so powerful, and people play them so much that I tend to not play them. So I don't know, but I think they balanced it pretty well though, because they're giving everyone the bonus action wild shape, but they're also taking some of the edge off a wild shape there. It's not quite as impressive as it used to be, which again, I feel like is maybe something some people won't like, but I kind of like it.
I mean, the question is, does it enhance role play? And I think what I'm hearing is it gives you more options to concentrate on who your character is rather than, well, I kind of have to take Moon Druid, and so my character sort of needs to do this. Whereas now there's a little bit more of a level playing field.
Yeah. And I think, and this is something I think came up just in a chat with a group I was playing with before. And it's going to kind of spill into another topic we don't have to get into, but I was saying how I really like one of the things they did with wild shape is limit your wild shape forms. So you can't just turn into anything you've ever seen before. You have a set number of wild shape forms. I think you start with 4 and then you gain 2 more at a higher level. So there's only
up to 8. I think it like
yeah,
if you go all the way.
you gain more as you go, but there are limited forms. And what I really like about that is from a role play perspective and a narrative perspective, I really like the idea that a druid has to know something about the animal that they are taking the form of, that they've studied them or been around them a lot, that this is something that took practice, that they learn to sort of replicate this form. And so that's why there's only a few that they can do. Those are the ones that they know well. And over time, they can learn a couple of more. Rather than I saw something run past once and now I can literally become it. And I think I mentioned this to someone once and their response was sort of like, yeah, but it's magic, so it doesn't matter. Like, it's magic, so you can just do whatever. And like, valid perspective, I guess, but not my feeling about it. I just because it's magic, I like magic that has rules and I like magic that has a logic behind it.
And story.
That's me.
Story behind it,
Yeah.
right? You know, that's the thing.
I have so many responses to everything you just said.
Let's start with bullshit.
Bullshit. No, I think the most important thing is Chuckles, tell us who's drinking on the house tonight.
Oh, well, I mean, sure, if we want to get into that. I don't know if we can wild shape into anything, but if we could, and you know, especially if we wanted to drink on the house, you know, we would wild shape into waste management people, sanitation engineers, the people that take care of our refuse, our garbage, and get it out of our way so that we can live a nice, peaceful life, not knowing any of that stuff exists in landfills or anything like that. They're wonderful people. And we recently had a chance. I don't think we'll be able to share it with you, but trust us that we had an experience to play with a character that was simply amazing and a champion of the rules of waste management. And for that, to Eugene and the other waste management professionals, you drink on the house tonight.
Indeed. Well, back to why wild shape is bullshit. Now, so the first comment that I took away, or the lingering thought that I had on your comments, Violet, was moon druids being OP or powerful in the current rule set. My opinion of them is that they're very hit or miss, right? They have extremely tiered performance in comparison to other classes. So at level 2, they are awesome. At level 4-ish, they are not awesome. And very, 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 like, when they hit their tiers of new forms,
I see what
they
you're saying.
become super, super powerful.
When they're at the threshold of their next thing, they kind of suck until they kind of turn over that. Yeah.
And in general, that sucks.
But that's also, I think, a comparison of wild-shaped druids to other classes. You're comparing at that point rogue, paladin, or whatever that at that point. The question would be moon druid versus circle of the land druid at level 4. Is it still significantly easier numerically, mechanically, to be a moon druid and get benefits from that than to be one of these other druids?
That's not, mechanically speaking, that's not really what we talk about here on this channel or whatever, but I would definitely say that, you know, a level 4-ish moon druid to a level 4-ish land druid is probably reasonably similar. A level 5-ish land druid is probably leaps and bounds greater than a level 5 moon druid. Just because a land druid is going to be casting Call Lightning or some other crazy stuff, right? And blowing shit up all over the battlefield, while that old moon druid is still chilling in its bear or spider form, wishing for a better life than it had before. But all that being said, I want to go back to the new druid and talking about the things that we know about the new druid class. I think the fact that forms are limited is super cool for one reason. It forces a player to choose and decide, why are these 4 forms the forms that I chose? Why are these 4 forms it for me? And when you talk about all of the different things that you could potentially turn into, you chose these 4 forms. I think that that is a fantastic opportunity to dive into who the character is. Did I choose a squirrel or a dog? Did I choose a puppy or a squirrel? Did I choose a cockroach or a raven? Like, what did I choose and why? Even if we're just choosing amongst birds, the fact that the forms are so limited to which types of creatures you chose, I think that that is a huge step up, in my opinion.
It's going to be a real opportunity to flavor your druid, to differentiate them from other druids. You know, maybe one person, all their forms are very like aggressive attacking animals. Maybe another, they're little sneaky things. Maybe people want a little of each. What environment are they from? Like what? Yeah, there's so many ways you could go. And I think, yeah, it contributes a lot to who the character is and makes you think about it. Like you have to think about it.
I agree. I wonder, and it'll be interesting when we get the actual rule book, so we can take a deeper dive in this. It's 4 forms, and those are your forms. But can you change those forms? Is it going to be, hey, at every long rest, you can decide which 4 forms you have, or but you only have 4. You only have whatever forms that you choose and you swap out. Those are the ones you do, and it was done to make it easier and not be like 20 minutes when it comes to the druid's first turn in a combat scenario. Oh, I'm still looking to see which. No, you got 4. Choose one of those 4.
I would say that if they can change them out every long rest, that would be bullshit. I think that, in my own opinion, you choose and you're stuck with them. If you want to change them out every level, like maybe that's okay, right? But every long rest, like a wizard's cantrips, is bullshit.
And for those who are watching, all 80,000 of you when you are downloading this after the book has been released, we don't know. I don't have all the information yet. I'm just speculating. What is not speculation, what I do think is significantly better for role play is the fact that you can speak as normal in your wild shape form.
Oh yes, that's true. You can speak in wild shape.
The chat is informing us that it does potentially say in the article that you can replace them on a long rest.
Can you replace all of them or just one though? Like it sucks. I agree with Rook that it sucks to replace them at all. And like if I was playing it, I just fucking wouldn't. But
I think it's fine every level. That's just me, right? Like you every decide, level. Because then it takes I have time. Grown past the squirrel form now, and I want to change something out. But every day, horse shit.
Okay, bullshit, so yeah, you can change out
elephant shit.
You can change out one on a long rest, not your whole set. So it's like a little bit better, but yeah, I agree it would be better at level rather than on a long rest, because then it makes sense that you would have had the time to learn a different and the experience to learn a different form.
I think I'll say this. I think what they're doing is giving especially new players options and the ability to this was a dumb form. I'm really, making more sense. And you can certainly play a druid and not swap out forms every long rest. But to have it in there as an option, as a mechanical option for somebody trying to learn, that's fantastic. However, getting back to the point about speaking that's not bullshit. Speaking and being able to have conversations in your wild shape form significantly improves the opportunity to role play. Previously, where we were in a form and you had to sit there and make a neigh noise because you were a horse and you couldn't that was the only way you could participate in the role play. That is bullshit. Now I'll have to choose telepathic or some other feat or something like that to be able to communicate while I'm in make other decisions just to be able to participate in role play in a relatively normal fashion while you're wild shape. I think allowing you to speak is a huge improvement.
Yeah, I think it is. It does. It makes me think of I will miss the really nicely sort of complementary mechanics I only recently discovered in playing in a game with Rook where I was a druid hexblood, and the hexblood has like the I'm getting distracted by the chat now. The hexblood has that token thing that lets you telepathically communicate to just the one person who has the token. And they can't respond back to you. You just can speak to them. And so it didn't even occur to me until after I started playing that I could give this token to another character. And then anytime I wild shape, I can communicate to that person still telepathically. They can't telepathically communicate to me, but I can hear everyone and understand everyone just fine in an animal form. I just can't speak. And so it didn't even occur to me till after, like, wow, these abilities go together so well. Wild shaping with the hexblood token, it's perfect. And I loved it. And like, I thought that was really fun. So now it's just a little, oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore because you can just talk in your wild shape form, but oh well.
It's significantly easier, especially in a campaign setting. It gets old doing a bunch of stuff.
It's fun for 5 minutes to goof around as the animal trying to communicate, but yeah, it does get old. It definitely gets old, especially if you're a druid that wild shapes a lot.
Hot take here, maybe just leave the fucking animal form and come back to normal form to communicate. Maybe that's an option as well.
Well, you only got so many wild shapes, sir. Like popping back in to make a joke or to have one little line that you want to say and burning a wild shape on that seems a lot. I think being a talking mouse or or a zebra
seems
or
cartoonish and bullshit and not in D&D for me.
get off Rook's lawn. He just mowed it. Okay.
One other thing we haven't touched on yet, too, that with the Druid is when you wild shape, you don't just get that animal's hit points anymore. You get like a set hit point bonus.
I think it's your level or something. You get temp hit points equal to your
and it's
Druid
temp
level.
hit points. And so it's not like free bag of hit points in quite the same way that it used to be.
Which is fine, but to me that doesn't really impact role play.
I think it will. I think it will impact for a number of people how they use wild shape and how they think about wild shape and treat it. So I think it can impact, ultimately how people role play as druids.
Potentially, sure. I think it'll.
So does that mean that you're a bear-ish, and you have still just the temp HP of your druid level? So you have 4, or whatever it may be, right? 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, and no bear hit points? Or does it mean like
you have no bear hit points? You have no bear. You have your own hit points, and you get temporary hit points. I forget what the exact calculation is, whether it's your level or your level.
So you have bear stats,
or
but not this blanket extra pool of bear hit points.
Yes, that is correct. You just get some little token amount or some amount of temporary hit points, and it's not related to the form you choose.
Yes.
It's related to your experience as a druid. And so it's not. They definitely changed that whole mechanic to make it less level, less a big bag of hit points and whatever. Right, that's gone now. They also made a couple of other changes which I think are interesting. One is you will have to basically choose a path, but it's not a tiered path. And this is going to be the same for the cleric, I believe, where you choose like a martial type of druid or a caster type of druid, and you get benefits for that. And then you have a second level choice, and you're not locked into a path. You don't have to have chosen the first path of the warrior to take the second path of the warrior and do different things like that. But they're trying to make you make choices to identify what type of druid you're going to be. I don't know how y'all feel about that.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll have to see how that plays out.
I think in general, I like the idea of identifying yourself as a character. I like the idea of making choices and choosing branches of trails to go down. I think in general, I think that that's something I appreciate and like. My concern is, where do we go with these wild shape forms? If a spider has a poison bite and a wolf has some sort of howl that helps the team, and a bear has a multi-attack, but mechanically they all do the same thing, which is give you a small amount of temp HP to your pool. Will we see people choose forms like we did before, where everyone chose brown bear because it has the most hit points, or everyone chose X animal or Y animal? Will we see people differentiate and say, hey, these secondary riders, these secondary attack mechanisms, whatever they are less important or more important now that the animals all have the same amount of HP?
I mean, I think when you combine the change to HP and Wow. And the limited forms, my brain just went blank for a second. Yeah, I think just in general, all of that stuff is going to make people have to think a lot more about wild shape and why they're using it and how they're using it. And like what the intention of it is, because yeah, it's not the obvious, like, well, I'm just going to be a big tough thing and then I can just like fight and soak up a bunch of damage and be fine. Like those, that feels like, I think for at least for some players, like that's the obvious answer of like that's how you use this, and that's not how it works anymore, really. So yeah, it's going to make people rethink what wild shape is now. And that's part of why I say I want to see how some of this plays out. Like, I'm curious just to see what people do with this. I really like playing caster heavy druids rather than wild shape heavy druids. So for me, it's like not necessarily a huge difference, because I do like going in that caster direction a little bit more. But and now they're sort of making that more clearly a path. But
I think there may be more. I think their idea, and hopefully it plays out this way, is to bring that down. Not there's one obvious choice. You got to take this, and if you don't take this, people are going to look at you and say, "Well, why didn't you take that?" You know,
I know some people like that.
There's a
You mean like the Twilight Cleric domain?
The point being that there won't be a mechanical or overarching need to go one form or another, and
Yes.
hopefully their design goal seems to be to give you a bunch of even options, and
Yes.
which do you as a player, which do you feel your character is more in tune with, and stimulate that. And I like that. I think that's a fantastic goal, and hopefully the options and all that bear that out, and people accept that as a possibility. One other interesting non-wild shape thing, because they did other things that affect wild shape, and this goes across a lot of casters as well. The wizard and the druid, they basically are trying to give expertise to all these classes. The wizard gets literally expertise in one skill that they choose because, well, they're intelligence casters and they should have expertise in an intelligence thing. The druids get to add both intelligence and wisdom to, I think, 2 or 3 things, or they get to select something.
Nature, survival, shit like that.
Well, no, yeah, like things that are intelligence based, and they and they get to add both to an intelligence based thing. I think they have to choose one. I don't think they just get all 3. I think they have to choose one, and it's sort of like saying, "Hey, you should have expertise too," and it's great. Everybody likes to have something in there. I mean, I know as a player, no matter what character I have, one of the feats I lean toward is skill expert, to be able to pop that expertise on something. But not having to take a feat, just having it come in your class, does that sort of take the luster away from the, at one time were called expertise classes? We're no longer going with that branding anymore, but there are certain classes that's part of their core feature is they get expertise, and now it's like everybody gets expertise in something. Does that seem like it's watering down those classes, or does it just seem like it's giving these other classes something they should have had all along?
Let me just say that in general, I tend to shy away from multi-class characters. However, in a great number of instances, I find myself in a situation where I am playing a fighter or a wizard who I feel should have some skill diversity. And so I start with that level in rogue, let's say, or I drop a level in rogue if I'm being less efficient. But either way, I'm picking up a level in rogue simply to get an extra skill or 2 and to get expertise. So on one hand, I will say that I appreciate the idea that, a wizard is supposed to be better at Arcana than every other class. I appreciate the idea that a druid is supposed to be better than at nature than every other class. I also agree with the statement that maybe takes a little bit of the shine off of what I know now as a 5e first level rogue. I don't know what the new 5 point something rogue looks like, right? Or what other things are being compensated. But I appreciate the fact that they are saying archetypically the wizard is better at spelling than other classes.
Violet, any thoughts?
I mean, I like expertise. I like that it's. I mean, I don't know. I like expertise in general because I like for a character. I like when characters have like a thing that they're like kind of ridiculously good at, like, because it's like, why are you here? Why are you one of the people we're telling a story about right now? Like, what's special about you? And having like a really high bonus in like a particular skill, and that's the thing you just crush at, is, I think, can be an interesting thing to fold into the role play and to make a part of. This is what you're good at and why you're out here doing like these wild adventures, because you're real fucking good at something. And I like that a lot, and I don't really see any reason why it would be limited to a particular class. Like, why is a rogue so much more inclined to have expertise in something than anyone else? Like, these are all highly skilled people. Like, it doesn't necessarily make sense. That said, the thing that I'm wary of is the idea of, these different classes allowing you to have expertise in a few very specific skills. Like that idea that like you can choose like nature or survival or something like that, because I also really like the flexibility of playing an out of type character. And that you can get with the skill expert feat. Because you add a new proficiency as well as then adding, so you can take a proficiency you don't even have and then make it expertise. It can be whatever the hell you want. And that really gives you a lot more flexibility in like, my character is really good at this, really, really good at this thing. And maybe it's not what you would expect based on other things about them. So the flexibility of that, I think, is really great and is not something you're going to get in these new class features. But yeah, I don't know. There's pluses and minuses. I do like that other classes will have the opportunity to do that, and I don't see any reason why it would be limited to something like a rogue, like just logically. But yeah, I don't know. So there's good and bad, I guess.
Yeah, and I agree. It's a double-edged sword because it's fantastic. I love playing expertise classes. I love playing bards and rogues with the idea that you're really good at a bunch of stuff. I also love the skill expert feat, and I think that's a great use for a feat that is not necessarily, here's something that's going to be combat based or something that's going to be where it's often more social and interesting stuff. And now that sort of goes a little bit by the wayside. I've already got it used to be, I can get one expertise this way and it's great. Now I'm good at something. Well, I've already got one expertise. And in addition to that, what ends up happening with the power creep of where we're at right now in the game, everybody's got one thing they're rolling a 35 on half of the time, and it's not interesting. You're rolling not to see whether you're going to pass a check or not. You're rolling to see just how high the number can be. And it's not story related. There's like a 1% chance that you will fail, if that, because the numbers are just so ridiculous now. And that's just going to make one more thing with one more number that is just uninteresting, and that's, I'd like to see that pared back a little bit.
I do agree that I think having just adding more options for expertise, and to the point where you might get people who have expertise in a bunch of things, I don't love. Like, again, this is not me speaking necessarily for like what is best for the game in general, but my own perspective and the way I like to play. Like, I like characters who are really fucking good at something and really terrible at other shit. Like, that's just the kind of character I like to play. And so, yeah, the idea of having lots of different expertise in that sort of power player kind of way is off-putting to me. And this has the potential to run into that. Like, I'm stacking every opportunity for expertise right now, and I'm an expert in half my skills.
I like that from a perspective where I have a character that is a rogue or something, expertise in all of these skills, and I go out of my way not to roll those, like to where other party members are. Aren't you good at that? Oh, you guys got this. You got this handled.
Just very modest.
Let me roll the athletics check instead. That I've got a -2 or a -3 on. Let me do that. That'll be interesting. Maybe I'll roll a 20. You don't know. You know.
I think that this brings up like the way this conversation has headed with this particular topic. It brings up an interesting question. If you know that you're going to roll between a 30 and a 35, if the innate DC isn't 35, why are we even fucking rolling? Why are we wasting the time?
100%.
Why didn't we just say, yes, I picked the lock. I picked the lock, we move along, right? I leap from one rooftop to another, we move along. Like, what narratively does rolling to get a 30 to 35 accomplish ever?
Yeah. Is there a reason? But so now with, having expertise on all this stuff,
right? So,
and you're sitting there at like +15 to your to your check or whatever it is, you're never going to have a lock that you need to try and pick.
I
or
say,
the DM then have to set DCs that are in the 40s.
I would say that my counter to that is, if I'm DMing from you, Chuck, and you're playing the new wizard that has expertise in Arcana, unless it is critical and time sensitive, why am I ever making you make a check? Right? You're supposed to know what the hell's going on. You're supposed to be able to decipher this scroll or this magical tome or this ancient text or whatever it is, and you have expertise in it. Unless it's time sensitive and you're trying to do it in combat rounds, what difference does it make? Yeah. The ultimate answer is, as a DM, I want you to solve the puzzle, or I want you to fail at the puzzle. So I'm going to tell you whether you do or do not succeed, period.
Yeah, I think it's a DM thing, honestly. I think that's what it comes down to, and the way DMs because ultimately that's not something that's like in the rule book. Like, when you call for a roll, like that's always just a DM call. And I think, and I feel like I've said this on here before, but you should not be asking anyone to roll unless there is both a chance that they could succeed and a chance that they could fail. Realistically, like if there's no way, if you've got
and
like
a repercussion for failing, right? If there's no repercussion for them failing, if they're trying to jump up and grab the gutter and pull themselves on the roof, but there's no time sensitive matter, they're going to succeed eventually. Why are we rolling 6 times?
Yeah, there's no reason. It's definitely a DM thing that you need to have a sense of when is it appropriate to roll and when is it not. And if you have someone who has a super, super high bonus in something, it is totally reasonable for a DM. Like, if it's a super high, if your thieves tools like lockpicking skills super high, you come up to a door, it's locked. Okay, I'm pick the lock. Yeah, you fucking do. Like, why do I need to make you roll for it? Unless there's some extra special thing about this lock that would provide an additional challenge. There's a trap on it. It's arcane locked. It's whatever. Because there's plenty of other things you can throw on there to make it challenging, even though you have this expert lockpicker in the group. there's no reason to roll for that. And I think that's just how it's just the group and it's the DM and it's the calls that you make ultimately.
Oh, for sure. I'm all for less rolling and more storytelling. I will say that. I just the question it comes down to, if we're giving away more expertise, are we just eliminating challenges from the game? Because I mean,
let's
what
do
we're saying,
that. Yes, let's do that. Let's just use fucking passive numbers and never roll the dice. That's my opinion. It's probably not the one that people want to hear. But let's just eliminate dice rolls, period, and tell a story together.
And I mean, another point would be, maybe just make your DM work a little harder to think of a way to challenge you. Like, if they can't challenge you with like roll to pick this lock, or athletics check to push over this thing, like that's think of something better. Like, make it more interesting. Find new ways to challenge players. Like, why not?
Challenge players with real decisions that have consequences, whichever decision they choose. That's the way that you make a DM work hard, right?
For sure, for sure. I think that's what I guess the question is, we're trying to make the game simpler and easier, lower needs for a DM in experience level, make it easier for players and all that. But in instances like this, are we making it essentially harder because now we're making the rolling, we're eliminating the rolling, which I'm all for. We don't need to go around about that again, whether we should or shouldn't do that. But are we making it more difficult because now everybody is going to have a number that is ridiculous on their sheet? Everybody's going to have at least one number that is ridiculous on their sheet. And so, okay, we're not rolling for that because you're going to do that. We're not rolling for that because you're going to do that. We're not rolling for that. So now I need to do more work as a DM to try and make this interesting and set that up. Or the DCs are going to have to get ridiculous because, I mean, the majority of people are not going to sit there and play the game without rolling. The majority, there's a lot of people there that come to their table and they want to play to roll.
Yeah. I like rolling. I'm not in this camp of let's never roll. I like it. I like the element. I know, because I know you like to know everything that's going to happen, but to be in control of everything your character's ever going to do. But I like the element of chance. I like not knowing and being able to fail and not knowing if I'm going to succeed. And like, even if I'm really good at I like the fact that rolling to me represents the fact that anyone can fuck up no matter how good you are at something. Anyone can fuck up and anyone can get lucky. No matter how bad you are at something, you can potentially get lucky. And I love that that's what I like about rolling the dice.
But I think there are it needs to be judged on a player and DM and a table and a situation as well, right? If I'm a high charisma rogue and I'm trying to talk my way out of a situation and make an actual good verbal argument, I don't want to hear, "Hey, roll the dice," because there's a chance that argument that was
I've had that happen.
You just made failed because of whatever. No,
I've had that happen to me and it was so upsetting. I made this impassioned speech and the DM was like, that was so good in RP that I'm going to make the DC for this persuasion really low. It was like a 5 DC, but I rolled a 1. And I was like, why?
Exactly. You don't need to roll at that point. There's no need.
You just said you wanted to roll, though, Violet. You just said you wanted to roll the dice. You wanted to have a chance to fail.
No, but I also said that a DM has to be very judicious in when they choose to make you roll.
Oh.
There should be an equal chance of success and failure. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
How does myself as a DM, how do I make the determination of when you want to roll and when you don't want to roll?
You decide when you want me to roll, and then I decide if I like playing at your table.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Oh my. how are we feeling here, folks? We're close to the 1 hour mark, but we still have material. Are we going to do an extended happy hour today?
What do you think?
I want to get
Crickets.
back to this dice rolling bullshit. Let's really dive into this hardcore. So again, I'm a big fan. I appreciate the idea that in combat, in intense situations where time is critical, that there's a chance that people fuck up or a chance that people are lucky and succeed. But outside of that, why are we rolling fucking dice ever? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Not everything is an auto pass, auto fail situation. What if you have a +4 in your persuasion skill? Are you going to say, I'm going to set the DC in advance, and no matter what argument you make, it is going to be a pass or fail based on that +4 you've already have, and forget about it?
This may be a little foreshadowing here, Chuck. However, if you are trying to persuade one of my NPCs in a game that may or may not be forthcoming, I don't think I have a DC in mind. I think I'm pretty much just going to listen to your argument. And if you suck, then you suck. And that's the way it is.
Okay, that's fine for me because I'm a persuasive motherfucker. But we're looking at this game from the masses playing it perspective. And, you know, I can't swing a sword for the life of me. I can't carry stuff. But if I want to play something with a really high strength, my character certainly has no problem doing that. And you have no problem seeing that. But if I happen to be the shell of myself and not very eloquent and not very persuasive, and I just shouldn't play a high charisma character.
That was exactly where I was going to go with that. Is it allows people to play a character that's different from themselves, and I think that that's okay. And people, it's that
it
people
is okay.
Want to
it 100% is okay, and it is a valid argument. It's also something that I can't refute. Like people don't necessarily have the attributes that their characters do, and that also is okay. I just don't like rolling dice.
I think we're in ads right now, by the way.
Are we really?
I have no idea. That's why I said we're almost at the. You didn't hear me, or we? And you're just like, nope, we're gonna bull right through.
Yeah, I think we're in an ad break.
I don't see it on my screen at all.
I see it on mine. It says ad break in progress, ends in 2 minutes 30 seconds.
Oh.
we missed an opportunity to put us in the please stand by, break in progress, and go refill our beverages.
God,
and now we're sort of committed.
Opportunity.
Yeah, now we're starting.
I did finally finish off that entire thing of pineapple juice, though. It is now, well, it's not quite gone. There's still a little here, but it's mostly gone. Whew. All the Baja Blast is gone out of my house, and the pineapple juice is being finished as we speak.
I have plenty more pineapple juice and Baja Blast for you, just sitting here waiting for you. You will have to.
Jacob's never had a Baja Blast, sir. I don't know if you had heard.
Which means he's never had a goblin noggin.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have to make them. We're going to have to make them.
We can make them, but we don't have to drink them. That's what I'm hearing.
It wasn't that bad.
I'm down to try it. I just didn't want to go buy all the stuff.
I was gonna Venmo you. I was like, I mentioned Brooke. I was like, how much does this shit normally cost? I'll just, DoorDash that shit. Yeah, we don't have to drink it. That's all I know. It wasn't like the worst, but that doesn't mean I want another one.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair.
Oh my!
If you don't like fruity shit, you're not gonna like it, right?
Right.
In my world, goblins are beachgoers. They're pirates. They're
now I've just got this vision of a goblin in beach shorts, towel,
sunburned.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Violet. Fuck you.
How do you think a goblin gets to be a hobgoblin?
You can see how red my fucking shoulders are.
I can see it.
Yeah, one word for you, motherfucker. Sunscreen.
Yeah. Yeah. I guarantee you that when we are in Atlanta, I will be sunburned. Like, I get sunburned in like 2 seconds, like so fast.
What are you?
Oh, we're out of ads.
And with that, we are back, people. We are still talking the new 2024 Players Handbook Shenanigans, rules changes, how they will affect your role play. Well, not how they'll affect how they'll affect our role play. You role play the way you want to. Nobody does anything wrong. Be yourselves. So we were talking about roles, but I think we've rolled out of that and we're ready to roll into something else. Like maybe the monk. Did y'all see what they did and what they're calling a monk that's no longer a monk because it's more monkey than ever?
I looked a little bit. I did a quick overview of the monk. I looked at it a little. The thing that stood out the most to me was just that key points aren't key points anymore. They're like focus points.
Focus. Now they workshopped a lot of stuff. It was discipline points in the playtest in the UA, and now it is focus because you are What was wrong with key? Were people complaining about key? Was this a thing that I had not heard previously? That we can't be key anymore?
Let's talk about how alcohol makes me focus. Is that one of the classes?
Let's talk about
for
this
the monk?
again today.
No. Drunken Master
wasn't on there.
Then why are we calling it focus? That's go ahead, Violet. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
I don't even know what I was going to say.
Exactly.
But I love Drunken Master, right? And I thought it's not there.
Bullshit.
Yeah. I want my Jackie Chan Drunken Master monk so bad. Bring him back.
they went with that. I think they went and said, "Hey, alcohol. We're gonna be a little cautious. All of being drunk all the time.
It's just such a classic kung fu style. Like, come on."
Yeah. The use of focus points, I think they did a great job streamlining the fact that you're not going to use as many. That's fantastic, and you could do more things with individual ones. The fact that unarmed strikes are no longer your bonus action, unarmed strike and flurry of blows is no longer dependent on your taking the attack action to attack. Means that you could do them first. You could do a lot of stuff, but additionally, the unarmed strike in general, they added stuff too. So you can grapple somebody, you can shove somebody, you can do other things. And I'll say this: the monk was the first class that I ever played. Still my favorite for role playability in a Jackie Chan, in a kung fu movie sort of way. You could go and you could do weird things. It was amazing when you could run up a wall until they started adding that to different species that could do that at lower levels. Like they seem to do everything. Oh yeah, the monk can do this. We'll take 2 levels off of that and give it to everybody else, sort of stuff. But we want to run across walls, run over water, all of that stuff is fantastic. And now you can kick and knock people back and knock people prone. And I think the role play aspect of what you're doing with a kick here that sends somebody flying, an arm grapple and dragging somebody here, that's just part of your natural way you do things, lends a lot into the role play ability and the character of that class.
Yeah, this is maybe slightly off topic, but like on the point of like the running up walls and running across water, give me more abilities like that. Like give me more like non-combat like movement, not, or you can use it in combat obviously, but like movement abilities and stuff like that. I feel like I want to see that more. There's not as much of that as I feel like there could be. I remember the first character I ever played was a total like ridiculous nightmare of a character, and she was the at the time Unearthed Arcana Mystic class that wound up getting chopped up into little pieces and spread out over other classes. But and
was chopped into little pieces. That's so sad.
And was super, super ridiculous, powerful, and all that sort of thing. But it was really cool. And then she was also this homebrew race that was half banshee, which I'll tell you right now, I am aware makes literally no sense. Like, how does that exist? Don't know, but I thought it sounded cool, so I played it. And I had a very cool DM. It was my first time ever playing, and they were just like, you want to play it? Let's do it. That's fine. Like, go for it. Have fun. But this homebrew race, she had a special like glide movement ability where it was like not quite flying, it was only like a maximum of a foot off the ground, and it was like slightly faster than her regular movement, and you could only use it like for like a total of 10 minutes per day, so you could use it in like little bursts or something like that. And it was so fun in like role play to like in a dramatic moment have her just like float up to someone super fast. Like it was so fun to role play with. I would love to see more weird little abilities like that.
No, and have it come online earlier. I think the 2014 monk, and I don't know, I didn't look into specific on this one if they changed that. There wasn't a lot of talk about it, but what was it, level 9 before you got the walls and a thing? And Dampier can run up walls at level 3. Great, it's fantastic. What the heck? Why?
Fighter at level 1 could do the damage of a level 12 monk with their unarmed strikes.
Martial arts dice are higher now. They did increase the martial arts die.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
It starts at a D6, and I think it goes all the way up to a D12 at its highest.
Yep. That is the factually accurate. They did a lot. The deflect attacks is no longer deflect missiles, so you can deflect a punch, and at a certain level you can deflect energy.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool,
right? And you could still spend your focus point and have that punch hit somebody else, which again, that is exactly the type of flavor and stuff. Why are you hitting your buddy? Why are you hitting your buddy? Stop hitting your buddy. You know, that sort of stuff. That's the flavor of the monk. They always had so much flavor potential, but the actual mechanics often saw them killed at a young age. And they increased the defensive capabilities a lot. They added a lot more functionality to the stuff they do, and just make it fun. So I'm interested to take it for a test run up a wall, across water, wherever, however, and be interested to see if you can still be a drunken master and how that will port over. And yes, Jeremy, Mr. Crawford, my offer is still on the table. $1,000 charity of your choice. Come on our live stream and show us that it works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're ready to move off of monks yet or not, but it's making me.
Monks all day.
I'm just thinking about the wizards now, and
okay.
To speaking of backwards compatibility, or I don't know, is it even backwards? Like, isn't this supposed to be part of the same edition, but just an update? Is it sideways compatibility? I don't know. But anyway, the limited classes that are being offered for the wizard.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. I would not use the word limited subclasses.
I would,
because every class in this book is getting the same number of subclasses. So it only seems limited because there were a shit ton more available.
No, that's not why. Because context, there are a certain number of schools of magic that exist. And so the wizard, typically from the start, you can choose to basically be a specialist in one of these schools of magic, Or then there's other stuff too. There's other kinds of
only
wizards.
4 though. The other
but
4
now
elude most novice wizards in
the 4
5 point whatever the fuck we're calling it. 5 point bullshit.
This one, the 4 that you choose from, it's 4 different schools of magic. Why those 4? Like, and why? Like, it's baffling to me. Like, if they wanted to do 4 subclasses total because they want everyone to have the same amount, okay, fine. Why not make one of them just like a school specialty class, and as part of that subclass you just like pick which school you specialize in? Then you can have your, like, you know, blade singer or you whatever the fuck else you want to have for your other 3. But like, there are other ways they could have done this. To choose 4 schools of magic out of all of them, like, it's so strange and arbitrary to me. And one of the reasons I'm really annoyed by it is that conjuration isn't one of them. And I love a conjuration wizard.
But Jeremy says just play the existing one from 2014.
That's why I brought it up right now. That's why I brought it up when you said that, because show me that. Show me how that works.
You know,
I don't believe it.
On that note, I think my guess would be they chose the 4 that needed the most, because they didn't do much to the wizard. Let's be honest. The wizard got the least amount of tweaking and whatever because it was really a pretty good class. It was probably the best written and organized of the previous classes. So they didn't do much changes to them, and they did very little changes to most of what they released as subclasses as well. But they did tweak those. Maybe they chose the ones that needed the most tweak, like Illusionist. They did a shit ton of tweaking on, so it needed to be the conjuration is pretty good. Doesn't need much.
Yeah, it makes total sense if backward compatibility is real, but it's not. So what the fuck?
Also, I am 1000% in Violet's corner here. If what you're trying to do is say, hey, we're going to do 4 subclasses of each thing, then do the War Mage, the Blade Singer, the whatever as your other 3, and do a specialist wizard or school focused wizard type subclass and give it whatever benefits you want to give it to in the PHB. The fact that you just chose 4 of the 8 random schools of magic and decided, hey, this is what we're going with, is bullshit.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it was random. So I think that part of your statement is just hyperbole and just use of the word bullshit just to get it said on this channel one more time. You know what? I think that is bullshit. However, I also think people that like XYZ School of Magic would probably also be disappointed if my subclass is insert your school of magic here, and at this level, insert your school of magic there, right? I mean, are you going to get nothing special for Illusionist and nothing special for this? They need to be their own subclasses and get their own perks that are written for those. You can't just do one.
Then stop trying to give every class 4 subclasses, because it doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, it doesn't make sense for every class. Some have more subdivisions than others.
It's fucking lazy. That's what it is. It's fucking lazy.
No, they're not lazy. They are not. They're not done. They're going to release this book, and then they're going to
have us buy extra books.
Else. Exactly.
Great. And fantastic. They're greedy, not lazy. There you go.
Yeah. This is capitalism. That's the way it works. Now, if we had a school of capitalism wizard, that should be in this book.
That would be the most terrifying of all wizards.
right?
I will say one thing. It's such a small thing, but I will say this is one thing I like that they did with Wizards, which is that when you specialize in a particular school or something like that, you get extra spells in that school rather than just having like your gold and time cost halved, because that was always such a bullshit. Like that was not helpful to anyone. Like.
That's interesting to me. That harkens back to second edition when you did specialize in a school of magic or whatever, you would get extra spell slots devoted to just that school. And that harkens back to a time when D&D was less bullshit.
I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. If you gave me a choice today of playing 5th edition or playing 3, 3.5, 2, Pathfinder 2, I'm playing 5e. I mean, it is so much better for storytelling. It is so much less clunky than all of those other systems. I don't.
We're gonna have to do a happy hour now on why I disagree with you on that statement.
We'll do it as a moderated debate.
I think I can sum up Rook's opinion in one sentence. They changed.
No, that's not true. But that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. In a lot of ways, what I appreciate about 5th edition and hopefully whatever is to come, 5.5, what D&D next, whatever we're calling it, is that the barrier to entry and the ability for people to role play and play D&D or to play a TTRPG in general is far lower than it was before. And that is a fantastic thing, period.
Yep, as long as you don't want to play a war wizard or a conjuration.
Well, if you want to play all of those things, you're fucked. You should play 5e instead of 5.5e.
Or D&D 2024 or whatever they're going to label this. But no, I think a lot of the changes they've made are great. Some of the things I have to question though, harking back to the monk just for a second. We can stick with wizards later on. Wizard is my favorite class. I will say that. Monk just holds a special place in my heart.
Which of the 4 wizards is your favorite class, sir?
Illusionist.
Of the 4 types of wizards.
There are only 4. So which of the 4 types of wizards is your favorite class?
Illusionist would probably be conceptually in my top 2 or 3 all the time anyway. So I have no problem that they chose Illusionist. There's so many great things you can do with unreality, with like, and so many characters that are like, why do you like illusions? Well, I don't like the way my life is. I don't like the way the world is. So I want to make it different. Or I just like to see the confusion in people's faces.
That's
shit
so.
There's a lot there with that.
We could dig into that a whole separate hour as well, I'm sure. But the challenge is illusion magic in general poses a very difficult proposition for a DM. How do you relegate and educate illusion magic so that it is fair and balanced without being either 1, useless, or 2, super OP? That is one of the toughest things that a DM has to educate and do in their DMing career.
Well, I'll say this. It's not that unlike higher level play or power creep, where it comes in a lot of times, in the fact that it's not all on the DM. There needs to be a social contract that we're here to play the game and not try and break the game and try and that we're telling a story together. It's not me versus the players if I'm the DM. It's not players trying to get one over on the DM. And I've said this before. You're making choices to take feats or something like that for a story reason. Tell your DM when you're taking that feat. Send them a message, have a conversation with them, explain to them what you're trying to do with the character, and don't come to the session and try and surprise the DM because
I'm a polearm master now, douche.
I was thinking that more in terms of I was playing in a campaign once where somebody selected an Eldritch Invocation to get the Mask of Many Faces so they could disguise themselves and do this whole thing. And they didn't have a conversation with the DM about it and then tried to do something. And the DM had no idea what they're doing. Very clunky, story not working well. DM didn't have a chance to prep who this Eldritch creature or where this power came from or any of that stuff in conjunction with the player to help tell an interesting story because the player felt it would make a great surprise moment on the DM, and that just never goes well. I mean, you never go. You involve the DM in your storytelling.
Surprise your fellow players all day long. That's super fun. Don't surprise the DM.
Also, because that disguised self didn't have no bonus action attack with its pole arm.
I think you were saying no bonus action attack with its butt, and it might have because don't know what you're changing into. So possibility.
But I will say, to Rook's point, though, I think with the illusion stuff, like part of the role of the DM is to play the character that is the world, the world itself, and everyone in it who's not the party, and how they react to the party's actions. So there is a certain degree to, like, regardless of how much you're working with your DM or not, like the DM has to figure out how people in the world are responding to illusions. Like, how much do they believe? How do they see it? How does the world, or not just individuals like human NPCs or whatever, but like just in general, like how do things respond to an illusion? And there are a lot of calls to make there, and that can be difficult.
Yep. But magic is difficult. Magic doesn't make sense.
That's true.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter what school it is. You're trying to do stuff.
Well, there are only 4 now instead of 8.
The point being, it's like playing a high charisma character as an illusionist, right? It gets back to that, right? You want to play an illusionist, but you're not the most creative person, and so you want to try and do things. Or you are a super creative person and you're playing an illusionist to do super creative things. Well, as long as you have the mindset to do super creative, fun, and interesting things, and not super creative, I'm going to just destroy this this encounter or destroy this challenge, or constantly trying to deliberately mess stuff up. It's just more opportunities for interesting things, and that's why I like the Illusionist.
Like you said, it goes back to that social contract, and for me, like it's every illusion spell is very interesting, but I harken back to like Phantasmal Force, right? The second level illusion spell in 5e, right? It at the heart of it, what it says is that it deals psychic damage to the other person. So if I decide that that thing is a chain that is chained to the ground and choking that person out, right? Like if that's the illusion that I've created, is that character bound by that chain? Can they move away from that chain and attack things? Can they not? Like the chain is only 6 feet long. It's choking them out. It's succumbing, they're succumbing to it in their mind. How do you educate things like that? Does it also restrain that creature? Does it not? Those are kind of some of the things that come up when you're talking about and educating illusions.
Right. And there are those combat specific illusion spells are difficult, right? I mean, especially because people want to try and, oh man, this is so powerful. How can I abuse it? right? Because you're trying to use that. Okay, well, let's take the whiteboard and before the combat, write up this really complex, super long, taking every possibility into account way that I can make this second level spell something that will end this encounter immediately. And I think that's going past the spirit of the spell, the spirit of the game, all of that. That said, if you have this second level spell and you cast that and they move 5 feet to the left and now they're out of the effect of the spell and it's done one round later, that's the DM going too far in the other direction. You got to have that contract where you're going to meet in the middle. This is about what a second level spell can do. And, this is how much the creature, low intelligence creature, not going to realize what's going on when he's trying to grab these chains and that he should be able to break and they're not breaking the chain. It does it figure out what happens to it, right? There is definitely a judgment call, but it comes down to social contract. That's all of those things come down to that.
Yeah, I think to that point too, regardless of how the DM rules, whether it's that it makes sense that they would be restrained by this as well, so I'm going to call them restrained for now or whatever, or if they're like, no, that's not part of the spell, like they're taking damage, they might not understand why they're not restrained, but they're not. Like whatever call the DM makes, I think the bigger issue is whether the player is going to argue about it or not. Like if you're then that player that comes in, it's just like, no, but they definitely should also be restrained. Like they should also be doing this. It should also, and they're trying to argue for stacking on extra effects. So I think to Chuck's point, yeah, that social contract definitely comes in because regardless of what the DM can rule, what they're going to rule, and that's fine. It's is the player going to use that ambiguity as a space to start an argument,
For sure. But illusions are great, and it's still a school. You go to the monk.
One of the four.
One of the four.
Throwing my pen down. Minor conjuration is one of the best abilities in all of D&D. God damn it! And I'm so mad.
Used to be.
The schools of magic are still schools of magic. The monk, though, we needed to change key to focus, and we needed to change the way of this and the way of that to the warrior of this and the warrior of that.
Honestly, I think
change necessary.
This is just I again was just looking at this like a couple hours ago. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it or looking into if they've talked about their reasoning. But to me, it reads as they want the monk to be seen as more than just a martial artist necessarily in a very narrow way of thinking of that. Do you know what I mean? Like in the sort of way of and that sort of thing is sort of a more traditional martial arts framing. And to me, they're putting more generic terms on it to try to, not necessarily push it in that direction. It's still called a monk though, which is kind of throws all that out the window, but I guess maybe they didn't feel they had the latitude to fully rename a whole class. But
I mean, so you're saying that they're trying to make the monk seem less Eastern and more just generic,
something that can be flavored in a wider variety of ways.
Why can't I be a 40s mobster Italian monk that's slapping the crap out of people?
Please do.
Why can't you have the way of Batman monk?
Why is it not called the way of whatever? The way of the salami.
I like the way of salami sounds fantastic right now. Boar's Head,
really
you listening?
Are you so hungry?
Oh no!
But the way of branding and all that, to me, that feels more open and more okay. Yeah, I'm going to follow this path and what I'm doing. Warrior means, yep, I got to be a warrior.
To me, I agree.
It is an odd word choice.
Statement. I agree with that statement 100%. Warrior is strange, way is better, and also feels more open to interpretation. I just think that is truth.
Yeah.
Not bullshit.
To me, hey, we got a not bullshit stamp. To me, it felt like everybody from Watsy's point of view, everybody thinks the monk is shit. We need to do wholesale changes. And you know what? We need a rebranding. We need to let them know this gas station is under new management and it's no longer this, it's now that. So everything has to change. And they felt like they had to go through and change what focus points and warrior versus way. And they had to change like everything for branding purposes. And that to me is bullshit. Bring back my key and my way of
Let's
shit.
call it bullshit when it's bullshit.
You know, that's what I got on that. But back to the wizard for a second, because we can't leave that really. Spells. We didn't talk about the spells at all, and I don't want to talk about a lot of stuff on there. But I think it is very interesting the way they have changed summoning spells. And you're no longer going to have 18,000 pixies, or how many, 10 pixies, however many pixies that you got to do this, and a million tokens thrown on the board, and all of that, and all of that stuff. You know, more stat block oriented. You don't have to go look and make decisions. And I think that's much better for role play, because how can you role play in combat? One of my favorite things to do, make your combat more interesting. When you've got 8 different pixies, you got to go through and take all of their turns and try and role play all of them. And then one player is taking like 3.5 hours for a combat turn. And by the time your buddy wakes you up, you're just like, yeah, butt attack. Okay, good. I'm good to go.
My least favorite spell in D&D
Pole
is
Arm Master, butt attack.
My least favorite spell is Conjure Animals. When a person just shows up and is like, I conjure 8 wolves, I'm like, well, then let's all go home. Like, why are we here now? This sucks. Like, you're crowding the battlefield, first of all. No one else can attack these enemies because they're surrounded by wolves. They all have pack tactics. Like, fuck this. Like, no one's even playing at this point. Like, we're all just waiting for your wolves to finish the fight. Like, why are we here? Like, I hate Conjure Animals. And there are other, similar spells along the same lines. Conjure Animals I hate the most because of the pack tactics. But yeah, so please nerf those spells. Please, thank you.
And like I said, not just from the crowded combat field and the mechanical stuff, but it's just no fun. You're not role playing.
It's not fun.
Opportunity to role play.
100%. That is exactly it. It's not just that it's powerful. It's not fun. Yeah. I don't want to conjure a bunch of random things to fight the fight for me. If so, why are we doing the fight? Just narrate that it's over.
Right? So no rolling?
But that's my point, is I want to roll. I want to fight the fight myself.
Don't forget the boar's head butt attack whenever you're fighting. The boar's head butt attack whenever you're fighting something.
Would that be like a Boston butt attack?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
I just, everything you all have said, it's absurd to summon so many things onto the battlefield and just bring the entire game to a crawl for the purposes of your 8 pixies casting healing word or whatever the fuck they actually do. Who knows? Because I can honestly say I have been marked safe since 2014 for ever summoning a pixie or wolf onto the battlefield.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you are safe from that, but not safe from charging lawnmower batteries, or table saws.
It's because I was one of the 4 wizard classes that didn't make it into the PHB.
What about Warlock? We talked a little bit, and I know this is a subject we're not going to rehash how and when and where they actually finalize and get their deal. But
Jesus fucking Christ, here we go.
What we didn't talk about was they added animals to the familiar options. Does anybody want a Sphinx?
Oh, I didn't even look at that part.
Oh,
Hold on, now
yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
What? A Sphinx
You're-
isn't an animal, it's a magical creature, sir.
Yeah, well, it's a familiar creature.
Well, but Pact of the Chain lets you have other kinds of you can have like
Correct.
an imp and a
Yeah,
things
and
like
now
that.
they added something for the Celestial, of course, for the Celestial. But
Don't get me started.
but you know
Celestial
what?
warlocks.
I've had a nice guy with an imp before. At least I think he's a nice guy.
I don't know what that means. But
Well, stay tuned,
Can
find
we
out.
just go back for a second? Who is the Celestial Warlock? Are they the CIA of the divine?
I want someone to play a celestial warlock that is cool. Like I want to see someone do it well and prove to me that it's not a ridiculous subclass.
Challenge accepted. It may not be our next thing, but it will happen. And we'll have a Sphinx familiar, a celestial Sphinx. Boo! You don't like Sphinxes? Man, what's wrong with Sphinxes? How about a purple Sphinx?
Just a hater,
A
man.
little baby, a little baby
purple
Sphinx.
named Iris.
Oh gosh, these are references to what will be known as the lost episodes.
Yes, there are several
Quite
lost
sorry.
episodes. That one may be the overdubbed episode.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rick.
I'm waiting. We had technical difficulties. We're here tonight talking to you and drinking. Well, some of us would be drinking anyway, but because there was supposed to be another episode, but technical difficulties. If you really, really like us, you know what will happen eventually. When we put up our Kickstarter for whatever we do that has a goal of $10 million. This one of the stretch goals will potentially be overdubbing the current footage that is short one voice, so that you too can enjoy the race of ascension.
I have a lot of thoughts about overdubbing that episode. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, no, I mean maybe the bonus content is you all overdub this. We'll give this to you, put this out there on the internet. You submit back to us your best overdubbed sections, what you think was going on here, and we'll win a prize. We will come to you and play in your kitchen and have a game at your house.
We'll come to your house and hang out and eat all your snacks. That's your prize.
Well, that's our time for today.
You knew where that was going. Rook was there with
Please
me.
enjoy your boar's head meats and cheeses.
I feel like we're moving more upscale with our bids for sponsors here, from Taco Bell to Boar's Head. I feel like it's a little
it's only been the two. To be fair, it's only been the two from.
But it's still
inception.
a step up.
Well,
it's still a step up. We're moving in an upward direction.
Don't forget, we are also working on some sort of national public library funding for our whispers. If you're out there, if you're listening, you librarians, I know that you have a group, a Discord that's librarians only. Talk to people, find a national group that will fund us. We'll give you really good. I mean, it's like
all that extra money that they have.
It's less than the late fees on those books that I borrowed back in the 80s. For that little change, you too can help a starving whisper on our show.
Starving whisper.
In addition, at least 50% of those librarians are losing their voice here later this year. So, 4 out of every 8 librarians are losing their voice later this year. So please support them now.
Where's Sally Struthers when you need her? The sponsorship opportunities. Boar's Head was always the battle cam. I mean, that's like a higher
Boar's Head battle cam just sounds good. Yeah,
it does.
and Taco Bell is actually like the break sponsor. Yep, we'll be back in 15 minutes. This break sponsored by
Make a run
Taco
for the
Bell.
border.
We need to stop doing sponsorship ads when no one gives us money for them. But it's not how sponsorship is supposed to work.
I mean,
why would they give us money if we're doing it anyway?
Well, we're just giving the pitch now. These are examples, and when we clip these and send them to their marketing department, they'll be like, "Shit, yeah, that'd be a great place to advertise the new breakfast burrito, the new
already
crunchy
doing it.
whatever."
We're already advertising it. We have to stop at some point.
Why buy the cow? The milk is free. I get it. I get it. I do. But you know what? It's going to come to a point where we've done it so much. We submit this, and somebody's going to go, "Oh shit, yeah, we're sponsoring them. Here's a check."
The point is to confuse them so that they think they're already a sponsor.
It's an illusion.
Oh,
you just have to believe.
This feels like a Seinfeld episode. I don't know.
Why are we still live right now?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I mean, there's still things we haven't talked about. I mean, I was curious, and some of it may have come out already. But at last time on Hit Points Not Required Happy Hour, the Violet raised a point. Hey, they're not really giving us anything new. They are just repackaging stuff that we've already had and regurgitating that to us in a different way. And my question is, what would you like to see that's new? What would you like?
Well, funny you should mention, because it just came up a short time ago. Like when we were talking about, it's like, what about movement? Different kinds of movement-based abilities, like the monk being able to run up vertically and stuff like that. And there was that weird homebrew ability of the glide that I was saying I had. Do more fun stuff with movement. Do more out of combat abilities. Like I don't know. Look, there's plenty of stuff out there. I think. Look at other games, look at homebrew content, look at third-party content. I think there is stuff that exists that's interesting, but like I just feel like a lot of what I've seen in like Wizards of the Coast D&D for a while now has been when I see a new feature, I'm like, oh, that's like that thing from that feat, or oh, like that's like that other class, subclass feature, but now it's applied to this one. Like it just keeps feeling to me like they're just picking up pieces and moving them around.
Well, let me explain what you're seeing right now.
Okay.
It's called...
Tell us, Uncle Rook.
Capitalism. We're not actually getting any new features. What we're actually getting is regurgitated bullshit. So, in the scheme of things, way back in 1990 whatever,
I remember
TSR was constantly putting out new content for free and failing as a business.
Yeah.
And Wizards of the Coast said, hey, let's buy TSR and we'll regurgitate the same horse shit over and over again in 3, 3.5, 4, and 5. And we'll have people buy more books every couple of years. And we won't really give them anything new. In fact, we'll take away all the shit that TSR already put out and just regurgitate the same fucking fireball every 3 years.
Yeah, honestly, that's the thing too, is like they probably could add stuff that would feel like new content if they just pulling more from older editions, pulling in more stuff and reconfiguring it so that it makes sense and fits with the current rule set and that sort of thing. But like, I mean, it's bullshit.
The Wizard Spell Compendium for 2nd edition is 1,600 pages. 1,600 pages of content.
That's
all
bullshit.
They have
Nobody
to do,
read 1,600 pages.
They have to do is pull a few of those spells that don't actually do damage and just do something cool that players could center their character around, or go, hey, I want to do this, right? But
and don't even necessarily
instead,
make it a spell, make it a feature, make it a feat, make it like, you know, you could
but
just take the
instead, we just
concept.
get Fireball for 4th edition, Fireball for 5th edition, Fireball for 5 point whatever's coming out soon.
I'm not advocating and taking away people's fireball. People like their fireball, they enjoy it. It's fine. We leave it in there. My question to start this was not what are they doing? Why are they doing it? My question was, what interesting things can y'all think of that they could do? And I'll put a couple out here for you, and maybe we workshop a few things. We could talk more about it in the Discord
Mhm.
a little later
Oh, I have
on.
a new
That's
command for that.
capitalism, sir. Join
Um,
our Discord to talk more about Watsy's bullshit.
that's community building. It would be
Oh.
capitalism if we charge for entry.
Got it.
The
Join
we're
our
giving this
Discord.
away to free for everybody. But what I'd like to see uses for underutilized mechanics that already exist in the game, and I'll give you one of them right now. Hit dice.
Hmm.
Hit dice when way back in 2nd edition when I was a young rook and playing that, we had dungeon crawls all the time, and you
And
would
no
have
hit
to
dice.
take short rest all the time. You would have to use your hit dice. The game has matured. Storytelling has taken over. Not always, not at every table, but at most of the tables that I play at right now, it's rare that we use hit dice as hit dice. We don't take a lot of short rests, and it's not a big deal. What else can and what do those hit dice represent? Story wise, it's your health, your vitality, right? So
Mhm.
what can you do and sacrifice? What sacrifices can you make with your vitality, your hit dice, to fuel things, right? I would have rather have seen the blood hunter, for example, use hit dice to fuel their powers than slice themselves open, because
I can't
that's
with
a
that.
bad look in multiple ways.
You have a class that's based on self-harm. Great
Yes,
plan. Cool.
it-
I
there are
won't get into it, but
all
that's how
sorts
I
of things,
feel.
all sorts of things with that. But what else can you use hit dice as blood magic to fuel a sorcerer power? You use it in different ways based on your class to fuel different things. You just use that. It's a mechanic you already
Mhm.
in the system. It's kind of underutilized. Find ways for it to be utilized. I think that would be a
Yeah.
new and interesting thing.
You are reminding me of something that is a real sore point for me, and that I almost forgot how much I was raging about this when I was when I was reading about it or watching one of the videos. And crafting has always been a sticking point for me, that crafting is absolutely useless in D&D as it is now, except in certain kinds of campaigns. In my experience, and in the experience of most people I know, like, you don't not everyone plays the kind of campaign where you have long stretches of downtime between adventures, and that is the only way crafting can be used at all. And I was really hoping that was my dream, that like maybe they'll improve crafting, maybe. And then I was watching one of the videos, and saw they were going to be talking about crafting, and I was like, oh, they're going to say something about it. Are they going to fix it? Nope. Nope, they sure didn't. There's more information about things you can craft, and I almost lost my mind just watching Jeremy Crawford in this video, and the way he just sort of tossed off at the end, like, if you've got the time and gold to do it. Like, fuck you, give me the time to do it, fix it, why is it so broken?
I think ultimately the problem there is that these basic ass adventures that are being churned out by Wizards of the Coast and theoretically consumed by people like Curse of Strahd or Shadow of the Dragon Queen for Dragonlance. Like, do you really expect a character to go from level 1 to level 12 in like 4 weeks? And why would they do so? Why ever would that happen? And the answer is it fucking wouldn't, or everyone would be a level 12 something or another, right? Because it only took them a month in their whole life to get to achieve that goal. Yeah. And so it's, again, it goes back to lazy story writing, in my own opinion.
Counter argument. These adventures, I like an action pack. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, well, we just finished that. Now you're going to have 6 weeks of downtime on your off week. During the week, figure out what you're going to do, write about it, and we'll do a few things at the beginning of the session to figure out what you did. It's just not interesting to me. I don't want to read about, if I was reading a book, I wouldn't want to be, and then they crafted stuff for 6 weeks, and let me tell you what they were. That's not interesting in my story. To your point of, hey, if it takes a month to go from this point to this point, level what to level whatever, I think everybody interprets what level means, how advanced a level is, and what being level 20 means. I've played at level 20 adventures where people come in, we're gods, and I come in, I'm a piece of shit, but I can do stuff. There's just a different interpretation there. But to your question of why wouldn't everybody do it if it takes a month? Because 98% of the people that do it die. You're one of 2% of people that survived for the whole month, and leaving your village, people just don't do. Like, most, if you think about it, and you're playing a Dungeons and Dragons character, most of the people in that time would have lived their entire lives, never leave their village, never done anything. There's got to be something that sparked you to leave and go and do this stupid ass shit, risk your life. And the mechanics of D&D have really reduced how risky it is for your actual life, which is why it seems like it isn't. But if you go in an in-world view, doing this shit, you should die. You probably should be dead. And the fact that you aren't is the fact that you should be dead is the reason people don't do it if it takes a month. So
I feel like a lot of people just wouldn't want to. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could probably follow some, like, in theory, let me emphasize, in theory, I could probably follow some incredibly strict fitness regimen and diet program and stuff to become like really jacked in like a limited period of time, but I don't fucking want to. Like, what? I mean, just because you could, why doesn't mean you want to. I have other things I want to do with my life. Not everyone wants to go on this like intensive adventuring lifestyle so that they can gain this particular level of power. Like, they have other shit they want to do with their life. Like, most people don't care about that.
Let's table campaign writing for another happy hour. How about that?
Fantastic. So, I mean, other new things, I'd love to see different things other than equipment and attunement slots and everything. For example, there's an adventure that's on our thing, maybe soon to be on a YouTube, probably will get posted somewhere, where I played a tattoo artist, a wizard that was also a tattoo artist, and I created that character before the rules for magical tattoos were released in, was that Tasha's or whatever it was, and that was written to be a custom thing that they could do, like magically tattoo people and come up with rules for that, how that works. And you put a permanent tattoo on somebody, it does something, it acts somehow. It's difficult to create and get on there, it takes a special skill, all of that. I was very disappointed in Wizards of the Coast when they said, okay, here's your magical tattoo. It's a thing, you dab it on your skin, and you have
the ability to rip it back off.
Well, you essentially have another piece of equipment that uses it. It's just a reflavored piece of equipment that you could have acquired, and then you can just take it back off.
It doesn't make any sense that it's a tattoo.
Nothing.
It's so ridiculous.
Right. So how about
absurd?
How about
lazy writing? Let's table lazy writing for another time.
Sure.
Are you trying to wrap us up here?
I sure am. It's been 2 hours.
Yes. And we've got an ad break in like 2 minutes anyway, so we should probably cut before then.
Fantastic. Well, then thank you for tuning in to our rant about horrible writing and magical tattoos and gliding and Rook's Lawn. Now, remember to support your waste management people. They drink for free here this week, but maybe you get them something nice and leave it in your garbage. Who knows? Anyway, you want to take care of things.
Don't forget to tip
like
them
an
at
insult,
Christmas time.
Okay. Yes. That's better, I think.
Remember, take care of the people you love. Tell them that you love them. And you know what? Hit points are not required to enjoy a tasty beverage. So go get yourself one of those. Night, everybody.
Night.